Okay, I tried to apply one of the inversion codes to my data. And so this video is just going to cover how to bring in your data compared to using the tutorial data from SIMPEG. And then the later videos will actually go through the inversion itself. Okay, so I suppose I should show you if we were on the SIMPEG page. You can see here SIMPEG simulations. This is SIMPEG XYZ. And I always go to the same place. I'm sure there's a better way to get there, but I go here to learn from user tutorials. And then on the left-hand side here, I've gone to magnetics, and I'm downloading this one, this 3D inversion. And as soon as you click on it, this is your code here. You're going to download it by clicking. You can see on this download button, this file comes up, you click on it, and it actually downloads it to your computer. And so what I've done to make my life easier is I've gone into my C drive, down to users, and so mine is VITS users, and I've created a folder here called SIMPEG. And you might say to me, but why, Stephanie, have you done this? Well, when I open up Jupyter Notebook, which I'm coming to over here, you can see, if I go back to the original, this is what the landing page is for Jupyter Notebook, and so that's where it is on my computer. It is in my users, VITS user, and so it's going to be different for different people, so you've got to figure out what your one is. But you can see here I've created the SIMPEG folder, and if I scroll down here, here's SIMPEG. And so it's just to save me having to navigate to another folder in a very random place, which maybe there's a clever, quick way to do it, but I do not know it. And so you can see I've gone in here. And so the reason why I'm telling you this is I want you to take this file that's just been downloaded on your computer, so it's in downloads, and you can see here it's in my computer showing up as like a notebook file. It's this IPYNB file, shows inversion magnetics induced 3D. Copy it and go put it in that folder you've just created, because then it's much easier. So I've actually created a tutorial folder, and previously I was using it, downloaded this tutorial, and so you can see I've got it inside here. And so I can quite easily navigate to it on my computer. And yeah, so that's where I want you to put it. And remember then how we open up Jupyter Notebook. So even though I've got Jupyter Notebook in the background, you probably won't have it up and running yet. All you've done so far is go to the SIMPEG site, download this data, take it from your computer and put it in a folder that you've created called SIMPEG under your C drive, but under your user. That's going to pop up on Jupyter Notebook. So maybe you haven't done the step because you're actually not sure where your Jupyter Notebooks open up, because you've forgotten how to open up Jupyter Notebook. That's fine. So remember last time we installed MiniForge, and so you're going to find it on your computer. I've already pinned it to the bottom here, and you can also type it in here, MiniForge, and you click on it. And remember, I installed my Jupyter Notebook under the base environment, and so I hope that's the right word. So I'm going to type here Jupyter Notebook. If you install Jupyter Lab, please be careful. Don't type notebook, type lab. I click it, and then it should open up in a new Microsoft Edge. Okay, and so this is how you open up Jupyter Notebook, and this is how you see, well, what folders in this. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I don't know. Anyway, so you are then going to go on your computer and navigate to C, go down to users, and just see if you've got several users. Because mine's a university computer, I do have a VITS user, so it might be straight here. So you're going to find it, and you're going to put it in a folder there. So you can see that my SIMPEG folder is over here again. Okay. And I also created a subfolder called tutorial, and then you would just click on this IPYNB file, and it will open up. I'm going to close mine because I've actually already got it running, and we don't want to create too much confusion here. So I'm just going to close a few of these. Okay, and so this is the folder that is open. That said, I've made changes to mine, but maybe I'll keep mine going and just show you the changes. So you can read through all of this. This first bit, you have to say import modules, which import all the functionality required to run the notebook. So it's very important to run this, or else a lot of stuff won't run later. So you literally click on it, and you click run, and it runs fine. And it says load tutorial files. And so this is where I've started to make changes. I mean, I'm happy to post my notebook, but the main thing is you've got to understand what is being said, or else you're not going to be able to edit it for the data you have. And so let's show you what was there before I came along and edited it, and hopefully I can go back and change it. Okay, so this is what it looked like. I think it says something different. It's something about okay, let me pause, and I think I'm going to open the other file and then swap back and forth between them, and it doesn't get too complicated. I don't know, it might get very complicated. But anyway, this first bit under load the tutorial, if I do actually just quickly, because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. There, never mind. Give me 2 seconds. If I go into downloads, I'm just trying to open up inversion. Okay, this is, I want to just show you exactly what it said at the start, because it was something about downloading here. So it says for the one you downloaded, URL to download from repository assets. Well, what does that mean? It means it's actually looking for a data source at this website. So it's on GitHub and it's downloading this file here at the end. And you might say, what is tar.gz? It's just ways of compressing data files. Kind of like zip, but not zip, and way more complicated to unzip. But anyway, it's kind of like zip. And so you're getting a folder here that's got data inside of it, and it's downloading it for you. And then it's taking the downloading data and it's doing something to it. I don't know. Ask ChatGPT. And then it's unzipping the folder. And so you can see that here, this whole tar thing, this is about unzipping it. And then it was quite clever. I did ChatGPT this thing. It was very clever what it did here. But ultimately what it's doing is this last line is that it's finding 2 files that are in this folder that's downloaded, magnetic underscore topo.txt and magnetic underscore data.obs. And it's just putting it in a place that is usable on your computer. And so I ran this and I downloaded these files because I wanted to see what format they are in. And because obviously I want to put my data in that format. And so let me just show you what I see. Well, what came from the folder. Sorry, I actually have got a shortcut to this. And so these are the 2 data files. So this is the topography data. And turns out this is the first column's X, second column's Y, the third column Z. And then the last thing is the data column, this data file is X, Y, Z, and then magnetics. So yeah, so those are what the 4 columns are. And so I then went and took my own data, which I had from somewhere else, and got them into that format. So you can see I had this data on Geosoft over here, and you can see I've got X, Y, Z, sorry, X, Y, this is my Z, let's hide this one, and then this is my magnetic. So all I went and did is I went database, export, CSV, I called it whatever I needed to. So this is actually going to be the observation file because I've got 4 columns. So you could type it yourself. Let's even just test it. I'm just going to test it here so I don't overwrite mine. But I want to show you that if you don't type .obs, you can fix it, I hope. Okay, so say you just typed test.obs, or even if you typed CSV, it's fine. I include dummies. If I don't do that, I get no data out. I said no to the channel name, no to the line name, and I clicked OK. And so what happens, you can see here's this test CSV. I want to change it to an OBS. I just want to see if this actually works. If I clicked on it twice, I highlighted, I type OBS, enter, it's going to make it unstable. I'm okay with that. I clicked yes. It's changed it to this file. If I open it, you can see that there's commas inside. This Python script does not want commas, so what I do is click Control H on my keyboard. Control H brings this up, and in the first row here for find, I put a comma, and for replace with, I put a space, and I click Replace All, and you can see it's replaced them in the document. I haven't done anything about the decimal places. I click Close, I click Save. Now I go back to Geosoft. I want to export the topography data, so I'm going to hide this diagonal column. I've just got these 3 columns. I go Database, Export, CSV. This now should be topo. Now remember, mine is ground data. We collected it with a walk mag, so I technically should probably take out about 1.5 meters from these heights to be more accurate. I'm being a bit lazy at the moment, but most importantly, if you're using airplane data, your topography is going to be different from your elevation in your observations. So this topo, you would then have to go minus out your flight height. I keep everything else the same. I click OK. I go back here. I'm going to change it. I don't know why one needs to be text and one needs to be an obs file. I'm guessing it's just formatting, but I'm going to keep it the same. And you can see when I open it up, there's commas, so I go Control H on my keyboard. For this first line, I do a comma. Second line, I put in a space. You literally have to type a space. Click Replace All, close, close, and save. Okay, and so now I've seen what the tutorial data looks like, and I've made my own data. But the big problem now is if I go back to my Jupyter notebook, it is in the script looking for this data on the website. But now I've got my own data on my own computer, so I need to change a lot of this. And so that's what I went and fiddled with. And now I'm going to make sure I've got the right. Okay, so this is what I've got here. Let's see if I can go back to what I actually changed it to. Okay, so this is what you're going to download. What I've got on the screen now is what I've changed, and I will share. I'll post a link to a Google Drive where you can find this. Okay, and so you can see that I have added in a hashtag to blank out this instruction because I don't want it to do that. I wanted to find the data on my computer. So I've taken that word there, the variable data source, and I've said equals, and I've put it to the location on my computer where I have got this data. And so how did I come up with it? You can see I've got my data over here. It's in this tutorial folder. I right-click on a tutorial at the top. I click Copy Address. And I'm going to paste it here to show you the difference. So the big thing when you paste it here of where this data is sitting, you have to put in this exclamation mark. So I would actually have to physically go type in an exclamation mark. The other thing you need to do is go change these forward slashes to backslashes. Supposedly, you can actually just put an R before it and it solves the problem. We can test it out now. So I'm going to delete what I originally had there. Let's see if this works. Okay. So remember what we did? We went to the folder where the data is. It can't be in another folder. It has to be in this folder. Right click up at the top here and went copy address. If you are not seeing this panel at the top, I'm not sure. I don't know if you can find it, view, because it's not always here. I do know that's a problem. You might have to search for it somehow. Hopefully it's always there. Let's see. No, that didn't solve. Okay, so I'm hoping it's there for everyone. If not, you're going to have to Google how to find your location at the top there. Okay, so I've put that in. I then went and blanked out everything else. I was playing with different things here, but I've literally blanked out this next section about downloading data. You must blank out this section about unzipping because we don't need to unzip. And you need to blank out this path to directory. But you do all of that, but then I need you to go and change this over here to data source. Because I think, let me just look what it is here. It says directory path, but I've just blanked out directory path. So it's not going to know what the heck it's looking for. So I've blanked out all the stuff in the middle, and then I've taken this variable here and I've inserted it over here. And so what it's literally doing is it's making a new file called topo underscore file name and data underscore file name, and it's making these files from the topography data and the observation data. So literally I could go here and put in my new files. So that you can believe me. Say, wait, what did I call it? Test underscore obs. Let's see if it works. Test underscore obs. And what's this last thing? Test underscore topo. Test underscore topo. Please note I did add in this black backslash here because I know I've messed something up somewhere along the line here. And it needs this backslash. Oh, you're all going to hate me, but technically now it should be a forward slash because we're using forward slashes up here and because I've put in this R. I don't actually think. No, ignore what I just said. I think it has to be a forward slash because over here the R would have changed all of these to forward slashes. And then, I don't know, we'll soon figure out if we get an error. So sure, there's a lot of stuff that I'm testing with you guys in real life. Let's see if this works. And I click run. Oh, it might have worked, guys. How exciting. Okay. I added in this row here just to print out my data. I was getting some errors. So I was actually just trying to print and see if the files were even there, if it was reading them in okay. You can see here, I've got the old name. Let's even do this, change this to test obs. So this, you're going to have to go copy from my script. But again, it was just a test run for me to see that my data was actually working. So let's click run. And you can see it prints the data down here and run again. It's just printing the first 5 lines. Okay, and then this one here, it's about loading the files. I don't know, I click it and I keep going. And now it's taking those files and it's saying what are the receiver locations. So remember in my obs file, which is this one, first is X, Y, Z, and then magnetic. So it's literally saying receiver locations are the first 3 columns. And then this one here is saying my observations, which is my magnetics, is the last column. So let's run that. And now it's plotting up figures. So I'm going to click run just to check it works. And then I will explain things I've changed in it. So it doesn't look very neat, but on the left is my magnetics, on my right is my topography. Something was obviously very wrong with the GPS on our magnetometer. I don't know what happened. But anyway, thank heavens this isn't gravity. I just wanted to point out some main things I changed, mainly for myself to remember. I went along and this Vmax, it was doing something up here. I don't know, it was taking the absolute value. I think there's an error in my data because I had 28,000 as the largest value. So that just tells me something went wrong with my IGRF correction. I probably had a value of 0 and minus 28,000, and that's why I got that as my absolute value. If you didn't understand any of that, don't stress. How I figured out what my value I should use here is in GeoSoft, I came here, just trying to find my magnetic data. You click on it so that this bottom part is highlighted, and then you go right-click statistics, and then it kind of gives you an idea here of your range. So you can see my minimum is 28,000. So something's wrong here. I had something here. But my maximum is 3,500. So I'm guessing my value should be around the thousands. So I played around a little bit, and so I landed up with 1.5. I did keep on changing this and running it and seeing which one gave the best plot. But I did base it on values from GeoSoft. Another thing that I went and changed here is the color map that was being used. I didn't like it was black to white to blue. I wanted rainbow, so I changed it from, I think it was BWR to rainbow here. I had to change it in 2 places there. And I think that was the only things I changed. Is it? I hope so. Yeah, and then I landed up getting these plots. So at least I know my data is being read okay, although my topography data is a bit spotty. And so the nicest thing I did was I took this whole code, and for example, I went into, what's this, ChatGPT, and I said, I mean, it was so far back, I put all the code there, and I said to it, which part of this code controls the maximum and minimum values of the TMI anomaly color bar? And then I pasted the code, and then it told me. So it said the minimum and maximum values are here, and this is, this was then I changed the values. I asked it how to change the color map. I said it was very blocky. How could I change that? It pointed out my contour intervals were at 40. I changed that to 2000, which I don't think I pointed out to you. That was over here. So you can see originally it was at 40 and I changed it to 2000. And you can see if I go back to 40, let's see what it actually looks like. I then click run. And so it's not that much difference, but it's a lot more, you can see the discrete colors. I wanted it to be a lot more smooth change. I can't remember what I had. Was it 2000? So that's just some of the edits that I went and did with the code.